defend Aaron Rodgers, I do. Because I know the perception is I'm really rough on Aaron Rodgers. And I think he's a Hall of Famer. I'd vote for him first ballot. I think he's great. In fact, I've said if you give me Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, I actually think you could have a slight edge to Aaron Rodgers over Brett Favre, although I do think there's some alpha with Brett Favre I really like. There's some country, some old school to Brett Favre I really like. I like his leadership qualities a little more than Aaron. But Aaron doesn't make as many mistakes. I think if you force me to take one, and it would be not easy, I'd probably take Aaron over Favre. I'm not sure I'm right, and I'm not sure people would agree with me. But when I find opportunities to defend Aaron, I do, because people think I am really harsh on him. So let me just say this. Brett Favre said yesterday, mentor Jordan Love, that's not Aaron Rodgers' job.
Aaron's job is not to mentor Jordan Love. Aaron's job is to win football games for the Green Bay Packers. That's what he's paid to do, and that's what he's going to do.
Agreed. Aaron Rodgers' job is to win. And anything that gets in the way of that is the enemy. Isn't that why we love the Michael Jordan documentary? Because you either wanted to win, and if you were Isaiah Thomas or Scotty Burrell or Jerry Krause, or if you got in the way of winning, we don't like you. Well, Aaron Rodgers is at the point in his career, he's iconic, not MJ, but he's iconic. If anything gets in the way of winning, it should be Aaron Rodgers' enemy. I don't want to hear about how progressive he is, and he's a great student, a mentor, a teacher-student relationship. Not interested. Win games. I would always defend Aaron Rodgers. Professional athletes have tiny windows in which they can play. It's a GM's job, a coach's job, a hitting coach's job, a pitching coach's job, an owner's job. You develop your roster. That's not Aaron Rodgers' responsibility. His responsibility is to win the NFC North. That's his responsibility. So I will defend Aaron and Brett on that. Speaking of that, I saw a story yesterday that the Washington Redskins, Joy had mentioned this earlier in her line, they have no primetime games for the first time since 1982. And my first takeaway is they had one every year from 83 until last year? Really? How did they get on TV those years? I wasn't watching. They had a lot of lean years. But they don't have an interesting storyline this year. The most interesting storyline is Alex Smith's leg. Secondly, Dwayne Haskins' growth. And I don't think Alex, I'm more interested right now than Dwayne Haskins. But I was sitting there. I tend to like drama. I tend to like new. And I tend to like combustible. And Joy and I always say that there is a tire fire component. We like drama. It's fun. Drama's fun. Even though AB was kind of sad at the end, the whole Steeler, Raider, Patriot thing, for a while anyway, was kind of interesting. And so I was thinking this morning, you can be bad and still be fascinating. One of the things I'm shocked by is that the New England Patriots, who could be good, got 5 primetime games. I don't find them compelling at all. They don't have a star. Their best player is a corner. They don't have a single offensive player that gets me to a TV set. N'Keal Harry's interesting, the Arizona State receiver. Interesting, not fascinating. And so I thought I'd give you just my list. These, I believe, are the 10 teams that will get me to a TV set. These are the 10 most interesting NFL teams for me to watch this year. Let's start with 10.
Number 10.
I'd say Pittsburgh. Big Ben's coming back. Their offense lagged. They've got a great defense. It's a historic franchise. And as Jay Glazer pointed out, Big Ben is not an off-season grinder guy. And so I'm interested. There's some drama here. I'm predicting Ben isn't great, the timing's not sensational, and that they don't make the playoffs. Just the fact I said that creates kind of an argument. I believe it, so I think they're number 10.
Number 9.
Russell Wilson, Seahawks. There's not a lot of drama. They'll make the playoffs. They make the playoffs every year. But I do believe he's the best football player in the NFL, the best total football player, leader, intelligence, playmaking, accuracy, skill at his position. And so Russell's always going to make my top 10. They were the 4th best rushing team last year. I think they'll improve there. They've upgraded their offensive line. I want to watch Greg Olsen as well from Carolina now to Seattle.
Number 8.
I'm fascinated by Arizona. And again, because there's a little bit of a tire fire component here, Kyler is like a poor man's Russell Wilson. They gave him DeAndre Hopkins. Steve Keim's a friend. And my takeaway is Cliff Kingsbury, we don't really know if it's going to work. I think Kyler's going to work. And so I find them to be the dysfunctional team. That I got a new coach and a new quarterback, and it could be really exciting. But unlike Seattle, I know we'll make the playoffs. Arizona could be 4-12 or 9-7. I put them at 8.
Number 7.
Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. First, Kyle Shanahan, I think, is the most creative offensive mind in football, and I like watching offensive minds. And I also think there's a Super Bowl hangover issue. We just have history here that if you lose in the Super Bowl and lose like an Atlanta or a San Francisco where you appear to have the game won, it can go off the tracks. So I think there's a little drama here. Little drama with San Francisco.
Number 6.
Cincinnati Bengals. Classic bad team, fascinating story. Here comes Joe Burrow, and here comes wide receiver T. Higgins in a tough division, and everybody's telling me he's the savior, and I'm just telling you Joe Burrow's a very good prospect, that he's not great. He's not Andrew Luck. He can't win a division and get to the AFC Championship with a crappy O-line and a GM that's hurting him and a coach that isn't the future. So I think Cincinnati's bad team, average to below average roster, but fascinating because I think Joe Burrow is good, not as good as everybody else thinks, and maybe I'm selfishly, I just want to watch because of the grease fire component.
Number 5.
The Jets. If Adam Gase doesn't win, he's gone. Sam Darnold finally, although they're very young, has what appears to be a competent group of offensive linemen. Their schedule is brutal. The Patriots are now out of the division. I think Darnold's the most talented quarterback in the division. He's been mistake-prone, but unbelievably a playmaking, dynamic at times. They went 7-6 last year with an atrocious O-line, average receivers, some dysfunction on the coaching staff, and mono. So I think the Jets, for me, is 5.
Number 4.
Raiders in Vegas, first time. I may have them low, but no team to relocate in the Super Bowl era has won more than 9 games. It's hard. They got a new stadium. I've seen it up close. I got the Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota component. The minute Derek Carr struggles, Marcus Mariota's making $8 large a year. Gruden's going to move on him. So I think there's a little dysfunction and a potential in a really improving division, tough division, to be a little bit of a mess, and I'm here for it.
Number 3.
The Ravens. Is Lamar Jackson going to keep growing and growing and growing? I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think he's now supported with a virtually perfect offensive cast. They added J.K. Dobbins. They already had a great running attack. But I do believe there's a lot of people out there that think the more you see a Lamar, the less impressive he is. I don't happen to be one of those people. I think he's going to go to the next level and get to the Super Bowl. But there are doubters, and doubters equal drama, and so I'm going to watch.
Number 2.
Baker Mayfield. Doesn't win, he's out. The roster's too good. He's got a grown-up coach. It's funny. For all I say about Baker, I've never denied it's like Russell Westbrook. I'm watching Russell Westbrook in playoff games. The unraveling is fascinating. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland now. I don't believe if Baker struggles, he gets another year. Because of all of his missteps in the media, missteps calling out the medical staff. I think if Sam Darnold struggled, they'd fire Gase because he's been kind of the perfect NFL quarterback citizen. With Baker, there's been some nonsense and some hubris. I think they bail on him, so I want to watch it unfold.
Number 1.
Tom Brady, Tampa. I think they're going to be rough early, good middle, excellent late, but we don't know. No OTA, young receivers. I think there's a redemption story for Tom Brady. He wants to prove New England wrong. Gronk's fun. I think Tampa Bay is going to get massive numbers. Now, I know what you're saying. Where's Kansas City? Well, there's no drama with them. There's no drama. They're great. They're going to score a bunch of points. Their coach is great. They won the Super Bowl, and I think they're going to get to the AFC Championship. So I'm not saying I'm not going to watch Kansas City when they're on. But these teams, there's drama. There's push, there's pull, there's doubters, there's critics. I think San Francisco in that division could pull back. I think San Francisco could be looking at, 5-3, and you're like, I don't know. Here comes Arizona. Rams are better than we thought. So those, to me, are the 10 teams that'll get me to a TV set. That is not a shot on Kansas City. I just don't see any drama. They're going to score 30 a game, win 10 or 11 games. The division's better, but they're going to win it, and I don't see a ton of drama. I just think they're excellent. And I've said this. Not all excellent teams are fascinating. I always understood people that didn't like New England. I told Joy this. I get people who said it's a system and it's boring. I thought the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan